Hello, my name is Adam Liston, and I'm a lecturer on the teaching track. I'm also a course director for the MSc MRes in Advanced Neuroimaging. I understand that you'll soon be involved in marking M-level research projects, and I hope you've already watched Jen Augustus give an overview of the M-level programs we offer here at UCL Queen Square Institute of Neurology, and that you've heard her summary of the intended learning outcomes for the research project modules on those postgraduate courses. As I'm sure we're all aware, each individual research project is a bit of a snowflake, a unique entity, but we have identified common denominators in both our stated learning outcomes and in our marking criteria so that we can actually assess theses that students submit and do that fairly both within and across the M-level programs. Tim Young will talk in more detail about the actual mark sheets that we would like you to use, that we've developed for you to use. But before handing over to him, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the types of research projects that you're likely to encounter. To start with, some students will be on MSc courses and some will be on MRes courses. So you may or may not be familiar with the difference between those. The difference where we're concerned is that the MSc students start their research in January, having 7 months to complete it, while MRes students are expected to start in October, and they have 10 months to complete it, so it's longer. Also, their word limits are different. MSc students have to write a 10,000 words thesis, and this is compared to 15,000 for the MRes students. Now, despite MRes students' opportunity to get further with their research, we don't have separate mark sheets for each. So you will use the same mark sheets to mark both MSc and MRes thesis. Okay, having got that out of the way, there are two types of projects after this. The first is what we refer to as data-driven. This is where the student either analyzes an existing data set or where they go through the whole thing from start to finish, from experimental design through securing ethical approval, subject recruitment, maybe data acquisition, and then analysis. Either way, you will use the same mark sheet. And I'll briefly list the marking criteria that you'll see in this mark sheet and that you'll use for marking this type of project. First of all, you'll mark it according to the scientific background that they include in the thesis. Then you'll mark it the standard of the research methods that they report in the thesis. Then you'll mark the standard of their reporting of results. So the clarity of their diagrams, the clarity of the tables, the clarity of the way they've written about these in their text. And then you'll mark them for the standard of their discussion and their critical analysis. And then finally, on the quality of writing. The second type of project is a systematic review of the literature. This is where the student poses a question of the literature and then attempts to answer it according to the PRISMA framework. And you can see there's a link in the bottom left-hand corner. You might want to Google it if you haven't heard of it. And if you have access to the slides, you'll be able to click that link. That is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. That's what it stands for. If you follow that link, you'll be able to read a little bit more about this approach and the requirements of a systematic review. Again, I'll briefly list the marking criteria that you'll use for this type of project if you're marking this type. First of all, you'll judge the level of the student's knowledge related to topic as demonstrated in the thesis. You will judge the level of the search methods as reported in the thesis. You'll judge the level of their critical appraisal in the thesis. And separate from that critical appraisal, you'll judge their ability to synthesize results from across the literature and form conclusions. And then finally, again, you'll look at the quality of the writing. So Oh, just to add, systematic reviews may be just that. They may also include meta-analysis. Again, whether it does or doesn't include a meta-analysis, you will be using the same marking criteria to look at that project. So I'm going to just briefly list those marking criteria side by side for the two different types of research project. And I would recommend that you pause the video now for a few moments to compare them one by one and reassure yourselves about the difference between these projects. Okay, so I hope you did that pause and have a look at them. If that raised any questions, then hopefully we can answer those on Moodle or in the live session, or maybe Tim Young's video, which you'll watch after this, I hope, may contain the answer that you're looking for. So some final guidance before I finish. When you receive your project to mark, please make a note of which type of project you are marking and check that you are using the correct mark sheet for that. This will be the same whether it's an MSc or an MRes project. Please tailor your expectations in that regard and simply mark the thesis for that project, for either project, according to the listed criteria and according to the level descriptors, which you can look at in more detail later. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful.